Hey everyone, it's Mace1370. I have a pretty crazy game to share with you guys today. Before we get into it though, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Also, if you'd like to join the Discord, please see the video description below for a link so you can do that. Alright, so I've just been pre-banning A-Ravi most games in the beginning of this season, but I'm going against Shuffles here, and I know he has a strong Cleave team, and I kind of wanted to practice against Cleave, so I pre-banned one of his tanks that he likes to pick, the Fire CC, hoping that it would get him to, use his Cleave draft so that I could practice going against that. So that was the reasoning behind my Fire CC ban, which isn't a hero that I typically ban. So it looks like he first picks Alencia, which means he's not going to Cleave. Alencia is one of the heroes he typically drafts when he wants to, go the Bruiser setup. So unfortunately I don't get to practice my Cleave game, or my anti-Cleave game I should say. So since we're going Bruisers, I'm kind of brainstorming what I want to take. I think Fallen Cecilia is a strong tank. She provides a lot of damage mitigation, through the shields and sustain. She's also one of my Aureus holders, and I have good gear on her, so I go ahead and take Fallen Cecilia. And I decide I can also maybe take some damage here. I don't want to take a damage unit early that is going to open me up to getting strongly countered. So for example, if I took something like Fire Ravi or SSB early, I feel like it would kind of shoehorn me really early in the draft and I'd just get counterpicked. So I take Remnant and Violet. Flurry is banned here, so I felt like Remnant and Violet was a strong pick since Flurry is usually one of his counters. And my Remnant Violet is on Lifesteal set. I've also been testing out Violet Talisman on him, which I've done in the past. I've changed his stats a little bit around to make him slightly more tanky. So I'm hoping that that extra bulk will allow him to use the Violet Talisman, so even if he gets hit through it, he'll be able to survive and make it to the late game and do crazy Remnant Violet things. Shuffles takes Aras and Dain, which is a really strong pair, and pretty obnoxious considering that he's already taken Alencia. They both offer a ton of buffs, and one of the ways that you can handle that is using Alencia to strip away the buffs from Dain. Unfortunately, that's not going to be an option here because I don't have access to Alencia. Also, Aras is fire, which is kind of annoying too if you wanted to use Alencia against them. I take Ruel because I figure like we're going to go to the long game here, so I want a powerful healer, and I also wanted somebody who could bring Remnant Violet back if he bit the dust, due to not being tanky enough and getting hit, through evasion. And then since the opposing team has a ton of buffs on it, I decided to draft Landy here. I felt like Landy could be a good choice because, you have defense buff, you have Mind's Eye, you have attack buff, you have crit resistance buff. Unfortunately, Shuffles had 2 remaining picks here, so I think I maybe should have saved Landy to the end. I'm not really sure who else I could have taken, but he was able to counter draft 2 fire units. And now I'm kind of in the awkward spot where I have Landy against 3 fire units, Aras and then 2 DPS. I picked Seaside Bellona because she's going to be super strong against both of those. And I really want to ban the Ravi here, but I'm afraid that he will not ban my SSB, thinking that I will be banning the Alencia. But I decide that I'm not going to, go around playing mind games, and I'm just going to ban the Alencia. If I left my, if I got SSB and I didn't ban the Alencia, it would have been a difficult fight. Also, with the strip from Alencia, he could strip Landy out of stealth, so that could be bad as well. So I just decided to play it safe and ban the Alencia, assuming he's going to ban the SSB, and that's ends up what happens. So I felt going into this, I was kind of on a little bit of an uphill battle. I didn't realize he had 2 fire units. I guess maybe I should have picked somebody other than Landy. So you can see here come the buffs. The opposing team has a ton of them. I'm just going to have to hope that my Landy is going to be able to do damage. My game plan is to kill the Dain first, hopefully with Landy's assistance on the DPS side, and then if she falls, it's not a huge deal because she's not great against the fire units anyways, especially with crit resistance buff. I think those are actually two separate checks. You know, the check to miss on a fire unit and then the check to crit or not. So she can still crit them. It's just she has to go through two 50% checks to do it. So she's only going to be critting like 25% of the time, kind of best case scenario. So hard to, you know, deal with units like Fire Ravi who have a ton of self-sustain when you're only critting them 25% of the time. So I'm going to focus on the Diane here in the beginning, and my goal is just get her dead first, and then go from there.
How long do you think you can last? Your pitiful
So here's our first 50-50 check that we lose.
ends here.
So Ryla does not crit into the Diane. Only does 3.2k. It's not a huge deal because it's, you know, the beginning of the match. Frenzy hasn't really started to stack up yet, so I doubt I was going to be able to one-shot her anyways, even with the crit. Here you can see that Landy just misses all the crits. I was hoping to at least crit the Diane there and get her lower, but because we missed all those crits on her, it kind of puts us behind. The Charlotte manages to hit my Rylet, so that's one of the downsides of Violet Talisman. He only had 60% evasion there. He's still more likely to dodge than not, but she got the attack down on him, which is going to negate his attack buff. And then he puts up the shield with Diane. So this is just an incredibly like resilient, you know, combination on the enemy side that I'm literally just going to have to wait out. I'm not killing anybody until these buffs go away. And the kind of scary thing with this combo is Diane can generate souls so quickly that it lets Ras soul burn constantly. She can also soul burn herself to just cycle the buffs even faster and keep, you know, uptime on them.
You fight as if you have 9 lives.
I think maybe just banning the Fire Ravi might have been the play. So you can see here that Fire Ravi landed a pretty crippling triple stun on my team. She hit and crit Rylet through his evasion, and then stunned him, Landy, and Fallen Cecilia. So now I'm massively behind. My Landy is in a very precarious spot. I already used my cleanse to get rid of that defense break from the Ras. I could have just not cleansed that, but I felt like my Fallen Cecilia would have died had I not done that. Now I have a choice to make. I can either res the Landy to cleanse off the stun and stuff and heal her, or I can use it on the Rylet. And I think I actually meant to do it on Landy here, but I don't know if it timed out or what, but it ends up going on Rylet. I still think it's okay. I think it maybe would have been better on Landy because Rylet wasn't going to do any damage there, and then if I was able to put Invincible on Landy, she might have been able to go back into stealth. But I do have a window here with the buffs being down on both Ras and Diane. So you can see he goes into the Landy there and kills her, which is bad for me because I just used my res. I'm able to chonk the Diane for a good chunk of health. That Ravi hits really hard, especially I guess because she has attack buff. So here's one of the nice things about Rylet is because he took Fire Charlotte, she's going to be constantly AoEing into him. So you can see I just got my first passive, you know, third skill activation. I went into Ras, which was a good one to go into. I would have probably preferred the Diane just to get her buffs down, but Ras works well also. So he's dead.
Grant me the power to extinguish the evil. I'm sure fortune will be on our side.
I debate about soul burning here. I honestly probably should have, because who else was I going to use the souls for? That was a misplay. Should have just soul burned. It would have healed everybody up.
Give me strength.
I guess I got greedy and was going to save it for later. I assumed I could live another turn with the Ruel. But I guess with the new frenzy changes, I haven't adjusted quite yet. There's a anti-crit buff 50-50 we finally won.
Away with you.
Charlotte manages to AoE into our Rylet with max Violet Talisman stacks and puts the attack down on him, which is pretty devastating. And then our Ruel gets soul burned into and just gets popped. So now I feel like I'm totally screwed since he has 3 almost full health units. Many of them have buffs on. And my Rylet is half dead with attack down. The advantage I do have is that I have max Violet Talisman stacks and he's forced to attack into the Rylet now. And thankfully here, Diane's buffs are down. Or not her buffs, or her cooldowns are down, so she has to attack into him and trigger his passive. I go into the Ravi and I crit. So that's another 50-50 I win through the anti-crit. I think I'm 2 for 2 now. I got the crits later on in the match, which is when they really count those, so that definitely went in my favor.
You pitiful beings. Death is your repentance.
Diane puts the buffs back up. And now it's just a matter of can he crit me. Because I think a crit there probably would have killed.
My own future.
So we lose the 50-50 on that one. I don't know if that that S1 would have killed Diane. The frenzy changes are a lot faster now, and I don't have that innate sense of, you know, when you've tipped over to the point of everything just dies.
Away with you.
That you get after playing a lot, since the changes, they feel new, I don't know. Even though I guess we played with them in preseason. I wasn't really playing Bruisers in preseason though, I was just kind of practicing cleaving. So here I get my skill 3 into Diane, and I win the 50-50 again, which is huge, because now she's dead. So now it's just Rylot versus Charlotte. And she only has one more turn on her buffs, and then they're going to wear off. She does proc crit buff and heal buff. And I think my Rylot actually didn't crit there. But he did get the hit down. I switched a piece of gear on him, so he has like 98% crit chance. I need that last imprint to max him out. And I get the third skill here off, thanks to the passive, and one-shot the Charlotte. So Remnant Violet solo. Thanks for watching. Later.